In the beautiful town of Nibo, located in the southeastern part of Nigeria, lived a girl named Nelo. Nelo was 12 years old and lived with her mother Ngozi. Ngozi was a dedicated teacher at the local primary school and was well loved by her students and respected by everyone in the town. Every morning, Ngozi would walk Nelo to school before heading to her own classroom to teach. Nelo was a bright and cheerful girl. She loved to read and was always curious about the world around her. She had many friends at school and was always ready to help anyone in need. Every day after school, she would rush home to tell her mother about all the interesting things she had learned. One day, as they walked to school, Nilo asked, "Mama, why don't I have a father like my friends do?" Ngozi's heart ached at the question. She looked at her daughter and smiled gently. "Nelo, my dear, sometimes life doesn't go the way we plan, but we have each other, and that's what matters the most." Nelo nodded, but she couldn't help feeling a little sad. She didn't want to push her mother for more information, knowing it might make her sad too. So she kept her questions to herself and tried to focus on the positives. That evening, after dinner, Ngozi went to her room to fold the laundry, and she carefully folded each piece of clothing. Her mind wandered back to the past. Memories of David filled her thoughts. She remembered how they had met, how they had fallen in love, and how everything had changed so quickly. David had been a handsome young man from a wealthy family. They had met by chance one day when Ngozi was attending lessons to prepare for her exams. They had bumped into each other, and from that moment, they became close friends. Their friendship soon blossomed into love. Ngozi sighed as she folded one of Nelo's dresses. She remembered the day she found out she was pregnant. She had been so scared, but also excited to share the news with David. She had gone to his house, her heart pounding with anticipation. But when she arrived, it was David's mother who answered the door. "Good afternoon, Ma," Ngozi had said politely, trying to hide her nervousness. "I need to speak to David." David's mother had frowned. "David is not here. And even if he was, I wouldn't let you see him. I know your type. You are just trying to trap him with a baby." Ngozi had been shocked by the harsh words. "But it's not like that. We love each other." David's mother had stepped closer, her voice low and threatening. "If you ever come near my son again, I will make sure you regret it. Now leave, and never you come back." Ngozi had been terrified. She didn't know what to do. She didn't want to cause any trouble for David or for herself. So she had left and never returned. As Ngozi folded the last piece of laundry, she wondered if David had ever looked for her. Did he even know that she had been pregnant? Did he know about Nelo? She had no idea where he was or what had become of him after their separation. All she knew was that she had to keep going for Nelo's sake. Nelo knocked on the door, breaking Ngozi's thoughts. "Mama, can you help me with my homework?" Ngozi smiled, pushing the memories aside. "Of course, my dear, let's go." As they sat down to work on the homework, Nelo couldn't help but notice the sadness in her mother's eyes. She wanted to ask more about her father, but she didn't want to make her mother sadder. Instead, she focused on her homework, hoping that one day they would both find the answers they were looking for. Life in Nibo continued as usual. Ngozi and Nelo faced each day with hope and determination, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any challenge. And maybe, just maybe, one day, they would find the answers to their questions and be a complete family once again. Men often made advances at Ngozi, but she always refused to accept any of them. She had dedicated her life to raising Nelo and focused on her teaching job. One of the men who admired her was Paul, a fellow teacher at the same school. Paul was a kind and gentle man who cared deeply for Ngozi. One afternoon, after school had ended, Paul approached Ngozi as she was gathering her things. "Hello, Ngozi." Paul greeted with a warm smile. "How was your day?" "Hello, Paul. It was busy but good." Ngozi replied politely. Paul hesitated for a moment before speaking again. "Ngozi, I was wondering if you would like to have dinner with me sometime. I really enjoy our conversations and would like to get to know you better." Ngozi looked at him kindly but firmly. "Paul, you are a wonderful person and I appreciate your kindness, but I am not ready for a relationship. My focus is on Nelo and my work." Paul nodded, trying to hide his disappointment. "I understand, Ngozi. If you ever change your mind, I will be here." Ngozi smiled and thanked him, then walked home with Nelu. She appreciated Paul's understanding, but knew in her heart that she wasn't ready to open herself up to anyone else. Another man who showed interest in Ngozi was Kelechi, who worked at the local government office. Kelechi was charming and always made an effort to talk to Ngozi whenever they crossed paths. One day, as Ngozi was walking home from the market, Kelechi approached her with a big smile. "Good afternoon, Ngozi. How are you today?" "Good afternoon, Kelechi. I'm fine, thank you," Ngozi replied, returning the smile. Kelechi looked a bit nervous but continued. "Ngozi, I was wondering if you would like to join me for a cup of coffee sometime. I enjoy our conversations and would love to spend more time with you." Ngozi shook her head gently. "Thank you, Kelechi, but I am not interested in dating right now. My focus is on my daughter and my work." Kelechi looked disappointed but tried to hide it. "I understand, Ngozi. If you ever change your mind, please let me know." Ngozi thanked him and continued her walk home, feeling grateful for his understanding but still firm in her decision. There were others too. Peter, Ifeanyi, Chike, and many more men had come her way, but she always turned them down. She wasn't ready to let anyone into her life in that way. Nelo often begged her mother to accept one of the suitors so she could have a father, but Ngozi always told her not to get involved in such matters. One evening, as they were having dinner, Nelo asked, "Mama, why don't you like any of the men who want to be with you? I would love to have a father." Ngozi sighed and looked at her daughter lovingly. "Nelo, my child, it's not about not liking them. I'm just not ready for a relationship. My focus is on you and making sure we have a good life. Please don't worry about these things. When the time is right, everything will fall into place." Nelo nodded, but she still felt a bit sad. She wanted her mother to be happy and couldn't understand why she wouldn't give any of the men a chance. Nelo would sometimes go for sleepovers at her best friend's Ada's house. They would spend time reading together, chatting and watching TV. Ada was the only friend Ngozi approved of Nelo visiting and sleeping over with. And Ada's parents felt the same way about Nelo. One day, as Ada and Nelo sat on Ada's bed, Nelo confided in her friend. "Ada, my mom keeps rejecting all the men who like her. I don't understand why. I want her to be happy and to have a father. Ada looked at her friend with understanding eyes. Maybe they are not good enough for her, Nelo. We are too young to talk about relationships anyway. Your mom knows what's best for her. Nelo sighed. It doesn't matter, Ada. My mom is very important to me, and I want her to be happy. Ada smiled and teased her friend. Are you trying to be a matchmaker, Nelo? Nelo giggled. No, I'm just an advisor. They both laughed, enjoying their time together. Ada was a kind hearted friend, always full of love and support. She was beautiful and always knew how to make Nelo feel better. As they continued to chat, Ada said, You know, Nelo, sometimes adults have reasons for their decisions that we might not understand. Maybe your mom has a good reason for not wanting to date right now. Just trust her and support her, okay? Nelo nodded. You are right, Ada. I should trust my mom. She always knows what's best. They spent the rest of the evening playing games, reading stories, and watching their favorite shows on TV. Ada's parents always made sure the girls were well taken care of and had everything they needed for a fun sleepover. The bond between Nelo and Ada was strong. They were more than just friends, they were like sisters. They supported each other through thick and thin, always ready to lend a helping hand or a listening ear. Back at home, Ngozi continued to focus on her work and raising Nelo. She knew that one day she might be ready to open her heart again, but for now, her priority was her daughter. She wanted to give Nelo the best life possible and ensure that she grew up to be a strong, confident, and kind young woman. As the days went by, Nelo learned to accept her mother's decision. She realized that her mother's happiness was important, and if staying single made her mother happy, then she would support her. Nelo and Ngozi continued to face each day with hope and determination, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any challenge. And maybe, just maybe, one day, Ngozi would find the right person to share her life with. Until then, they would cherish the bond they had and continue to build a bright future together. The laughter and love in their home were enough to fill their hearts with joy. And Nelo knew that no matter what, she and her mother would always have each other. One sunny afternoon, Ngozi realized that they were running low on foodstuffs. She called Nelo to her side and handed her a list. Nelo, could you please go to the store and get these items? We need them for dinner tonight. Nelo nodded. Of course, Mama. I'll be back soon. As Nelo walked to the store, she thought about all the things she and her mother would cook together. She loved helping in the kitchen and learning new recipes from her mother. When she arrived at the store, she noticed a handsome man standing by the entrance. Their eyes met, and for a moment, it felt like time had stopped. Suddenly, the man slipped and fell. Oh God! Nelo exclaimed, rushing to his side. Are you okay? The man looked up at her and smiled, feeling both embarrassed and grateful. I'm fine, thank you. That was quite a fall. Nelo helped him to his feet. I'm glad you are not hurt. Be careful next time, okay? He dusted himself off and chuckled. I will, thanks to you. What's your name? I'm Nelo, she replied with a bright smile. I'm here to get some foodstuffs for my mom. The man smiled warmly. Nice to meet you, Nelo. I'm David. How about I help you with your shopping and pay for your groceries to thank you for your help? Nelo shook her head quickly. Oh, no, 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 sir. You don't have to do that. My mom gave me enough money. David insisted. I want to. It's the least I can do. Come on, let's go inside. Nelo hesitated for a moment, but then agreed. They walked into the store together, and David made sure Nelo got everything on her list and even added a few extras. Thank you so much, sir. You really didn't have to do all of this, Nelo said as they walked out of the store. David smiled. It's my pleasure. You helped me, so I wanted to return the favor. How are you getting home? I usually walk, but it's a bit far, Nelo admitted. David thought for a moment. How about I give you a lift home? It's the least I can do. Nelo was hesitant, remembering her mother's warnings about strangers. But David seemed so kind and genuine. All right, but my mom would want to meet you first. She's single and very nice. David laughed. Are you trying to play matchmaker, Nelo? Nelo giggled. Maybe just a little. David drove Nelo home, chatting with her about school and her interests. He found her to be a delightful and intelligent girl. When they arrived at Nelo's house, David said, I would like to meet your mother next time. She must be a wonderful person to have raised such a great daughter. Nelo blushed and smiled. She is. I will tell her about you. David handed her some money. This is for you. Buy yourself something nice. Thank you, sir, Nelo said, waving goodbye as he drove away. Nelo walked into the house, her arms full of groceries. Ngozi was in the kitchen, preparing for dinner. She turned and saw the extra bags Nelo was carrying. Nelo, how did you get all of this? I only gave you enough money for what we needed. Nelo set the bags down and began to explain. Mama, you won't believe it. When I got to the store, I saw a man who slipped and fell. I helped him up, and he was so grateful that he insisted on buying our groceries and giving me a lift home. He even gave me some extra money sef. Ngozi frowned. Worry etched on her face. Nelo, you know better than to trust strangers. You shouldn't have accepted his help or the ride home. But Mama, he was really nice. His name is Mr. David, and he seemed like a good person. Nelo tried to explain. Ngozi shook her head firmly. I don't want you to do this again. You can't trust everyone you meet, no matter how nice they seem. Promise me you won't do it again, Nelo. Nelo sighed. I promise, Mama, I won't do it again. Ngozi took the money from Nelo and put it away. She couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in her heart. She knew she had to protect Nelo from the world, and part of that meant teaching her to be cautious. That evening, as they prepared dinner together, Nelo couldn't stop thinking about David. There was something about him that felt familiar and comforting. She hoped that one day, her mother would meet him and see what a good person he was. Meanwhile, David drove home thinking about the kind girl he had met. He felt a strange connection to her, something he couldn't quite explain. He wondered about her mother and what kind of person she was to have raised such a wonderful daughter. As the days went by, Nelo kept her promise to her mother and didn't bring up David again. But in her heart, she hoped that their paths would cross again. She wanted her mother to be happy and believed that David could be the key to that happiness. Nelo and Ada remained close friends, supporting each other through thick and thin. Ada continued to be a source of strength and comfort for Nelo, always ready to lend a helping hand or a listening ear. One day, Ada and Nelo were walking home from school, chatting about their favorite books and laughing at silly jokes. As they turned a corner, they unexpectedly bumped into Mr. David, the kind man Nelo had met at the store some time ago. Nelo, it's so good to see you again, David exclaimed, smiling brightly. Nelo's face lit up with surprise and happiness. Mr. David, it's been a long time. How have you been? I have been well, thank you. How about you? How is your mother? David asked warmly. We are fine, thank you, sir. Nello replied. David looked at the girls and said, would you like a ride home? It would be my pleasure. Before Nello could respond, Ada chimed in. Yes, yes, Nello, let's take the ride. It would be fun. But Nello shook her head firmly. No, Ada, we can't. I'm sorry, Mr. David, but I can't accept your offer. David looked puzzled. Why not, Nello? I just want to help. It's no trouble at all. Nello sighed. I can't because I don't want to make my mom sad again. She told me not to trust strangers. David's face softened with understanding, but he continued to plead gently. I understand, Nello, but I'm not a stranger anymore. I just want to help you and meet your mother. Please, let me drive you home. Despite his kind words, Nello's resolve remained strong. She felt a rising frustration. Why are you so kind to me? Are you trying to kidnap me or something? David looked shocked and hurt. No, Nello, I would never do such a thing. I'm not a bad person. I just wanted to help. Nello's patience snapped. Stay away from us, she shouted, grabbing Ada's hand and walking away quickly. The scene attracted the attention of other students nearby, who started whispering and giggling at the spectacle. David stood there, feeling both bad and embarrassed as he watched the girls walk away. As they walked, Ada looked at Nello with concern. Nello, why did you do that? Mr. David seemed really nice. Why did you think he had bad intentions? Nello's eyes were lifted with tears of frustration. I don't want to talk about it, Ada. My mom told me to be careful, and I think it's best if we stay away from him. Ada nodded, sensing her friend's distress. Okay, Nello, I understand. Let's just go home. When they arrived home, Nello told her mother about the encounter with David again. She recounted how he had insisted on giving them a ride and how she had refused. Ngozi listened carefully and nodded. Nello, you did the right thing by refusing the ride. I'm proud of you for being cautious. From now on, I will wait for you after school so we can go home together. That way, the stranger won't bother you again. Nello felt a sense of relief and agreed happily. Thank you, Mama. I think that's a good idea. That night, as Nello lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling of guilt. She replayed the scene with Mr. David over and over in her mind, feeling bad about how she had treated him. The embarrassment on his face and the way the other students had laughed haunted her thoughts. I shouldn't have been so harsh, she whispered to herself. He just wanted to help. Determined to make things right, Nello promised herself that she would apologize to Mr. David the next time they met. She closed her eyes, hoping that she would have the chance to fix her mistakes soon, and slowly drifted off to sleep. The next day after school, Ngozi waited at the school gate for Nello and Ada. She glanced at her watch, ensuring she was early enough to greet them. As she stood there, a car pulled over in front of the school gate. To her surprise, David stepped out of the car. Their eyes met and both of them froze in shock. David! Ngozi gasped, her heart pounding. Ngozi! David responded, equally stunned. They stared at each other, memories flooding their minds. Just then, Nello and Ada walked out of the school gate and saw them. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mr. David. Nello greeted cheerfully. Ngozi looked at her daughter, still trying to process the shock. Nello, is this the stranger you have been talking about? Nello nodded and turned to Mr. David. Mr. David, I'm really sorry for the way I spoke to you the last time. I didn't mean to be rude. David smiled gently. It's okay, Nello, I understand. Nello noticed the strange tension between her mother and Mr. David. Mama, Mr. David, why are you staring at each other like that? Have you met before? Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. and she quickly grabbed Nelo's hand. Let's go home, Nelo. Ada, come along. Without another word, she turned and walked away, holding Nelo's hand tightly. Ada followed, leaving Mr. David standing there, frozen and speechless. When they got home, Ngozi rushed into her room and locked the door. She leaned against it, tears streaming down her face as memories of their love story filled her mind. She remembered the happy moments they shared and the pain of their separation. She knew it wasn't David's fault, but she couldn't tell if he had looked for her all these years. Outside the door, Nelo knocked gently. Mama, please open the door. You need to eat something, please, Mama. But Ngozi didn't respond. She couldn't face her daughter just yet. Nelo, worried and desperate, ran to Ada's house and brought Ada's mother. Ada's mother knocked on the door softly. Ngozi, it's me. Please open the door, let's talk. After a long time, Ngozi finally opened the door, looking drained and exhausted. Ada's mother and Nelo moved to her side, their faces full of concern. Ngozi, what happened? Ada's mother asked gently. Ngozi took a deep breath and sat down, her voice trembling. David is Nelo's father. Nelo's eyes widened in shock. What? Mr. David is my father? Ngozi nodded, tears streaming down her face. Yes, Nelo. David and I were in love. We met when I was attending lessons and we became very close friends. Soon we fell in love. But when I got pregnant, I went to tell him and his mother threatened me. She told me to stay away and never come back. Ada's mother listened carefully and then suggested, Ngozi, you need to have a conversation with David. You deserve to know why he never looked for you. Nelo hugged her mother tightly. Mama, we need to know. Please talk to him. The next day, Mr. David showed up at their door. Ngozi hesitated for a moment but then let him in. They sat down in the living room, the air thick with tension and unspoken words. David looked at Ngozi, his eyes filled with sorrow. Ngozi, why did you leave and never return? I looked everywhere for you. Ngozi took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. When I found out I was pregnant, I went to your house to tell you, but your mother answered the door. She threatened me, David. She told me to stay away and never come back. I was so scared, and I didn't know what to do, so I ran with our unborn child. David's face turned pale, and he looked down, guilt washing over him. I had no idea, Ngozi. I didn't know she did that. I looked for you everywhere. I was heartbroken when I couldn't find you. I thought you had left me without a word. I felt so lost. Ngozi's eyes filled with tears again. And you never knew I was pregnant? David shook his head, his voice cracking. No, I didn't. If I had known, I would have never stopped looking for you. Is Nelo? Is she our daughter? Ngozi nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, David. Nelo is our daughter. David's eyes welled up with tears as he turned to Nelo. He embraced her tightly, his voice choked with emotion. I felt a connection with you the first day we met, Nelo. I never knew I had a daughter. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you all these years. Nelo hugged him, tears streaming down her face. It's okay, Papa. I'm just happy we found each other now. David turned back to Ngozi. After you left, I traveled abroad 2 years later for a project. I just returned a few months ago. I had no idea you were here, that I had a child. I'm so sorry, Ngozi. I promise to make amends and to be there for both of you. Ngozi wiped her tears, her voice softening. What about your mother, David? Where is she now? David's face grew solemn. She passed away 5 years ago. I'm so sorry for everything she put you through. I had no idea. Nilo looked at her mother and then at her father. I'm happy you are here, Papa. Thank you for coming back. Ngozi looked at David, her heart still heavy but filled with a glimmer of hope. I forgive you, David, but I need time to gather my thoughts. David nodded, understanding her need for space. Take all the time you need, Ngozi. I'll be here waiting. Nelo hugged her mother tightly, feeling a sense of completeness she had never felt before. She was grateful for this unexpected reunion and the promise of a future together as a family. David became a constant visitor at Ngozi and Nelo's home, always ready to help out and look after Nelo. His presence brought a new energy to their lives, and slowly the wounds of the past began to heal. David was determined to make up for the lost years, and his affection for Nelo was evident in every gesture. One afternoon, Ngozi was in the kitchen preparing dinner when David offered to help with the dishes. As they walked side by side, they began to talk. Thank you for helping, David, Ngozi said, smiling warmly at him. It's my pleasure, Ngozi. I enjoy spending time with you and Nelo, David replied, returning her smile. After a few moments of comfortable silence, David cleared his throat and said, Ngozi, I've been thinking, what if we relocate abroad? We could give Nelo a better education and more opportunities. Ngozi paused, surprised by the suggestion. She turned to look at David. That's a big step, David. We need to take things one step at a time. Nelo has her end of the year exams coming up, and she needs to finish those first. David nodded, understanding her conscious approach. You are right. I just want the best for her. Ngozi smiled gently. I know you do. Let's focus on the present for now and see how things go. David continued to visit frequently, showering Nelo with gifts and treats. He often took her out for fun activities and bought her a big phone, which Ngozi didn't approve of at first. Nelo, this phone is too much for you, oh, Ngozi said sternly when she saw the phone. But Mama, I promise I will use it wisely, Nelo pleaded. I will only use it for school and to keep in touch with Papa. Ngozi sighed, seeing the excitement in her daughter's eyes. All right, Nelo, but you must be responsible with it. I will, Mama, I promise. Thank you, Nelo exclaimed, hugging her mother tightly. As time went on, David's presence became a natural part of their daily lives. Ada was thrilled for Nelo and often joined them on their outings. One day, Nelo approached her mother with a hopeful look in her eyes. Mama, why don't you marry Papa so we can be one big family? Nelo asked earnestly. Ngozi's heart warmed at her daughter's innocence. We will see, my dear. These things take time. One evening, Ngozi and David were sitting in the living room, enjoying a quiet moment together. Ngozi decided it was time to ask a question that had been on her mind. David, why did you never marry? She asked softly. David looked thoughtful for a moment before answering. After you left, I couldn't imagine being with anyone else. It felt like love was a scam, something that wasn't meant for me. Ngozi nodded, understanding his feelings. I felt same way, David. I focused on raising Nelo and never thought about finding love again. David reached out and took her hand. I'm glad we are here now, together again. Maybe we can start over. Ngozi smiled, squeezing his hand gently. Maybe we can. They sat in silence for a moment, the warmth of their shared memories and new hopes surrounding them. Suddenly, they both leaned in and shared a tender kiss. At that moment, Nelo walked into the living room and saw them. Her eyes widened in surprise, and then A big smile spread across her face. Mama, Papa, you kissed. Ngozi and David pulled apart, laughing softly. Yes, we did, Nelo, David said, his eyes shining with happiness. Nelo ran to them and hugged them both tightly. I'm so happy. I love you both so much. We love you too, Nelo, Ngozi said, kissing her daughter's forehead. The three of them sat together, wrapped in the warmth of their love and the promise of a new beginning. As they continued to share their lives, they knew that they had been given a second chance to be a family, and they were determined to make the most of it. Their love blossomed again, and soon, Ngozi and David moved into David's big house. It was a beautiful home, filled with warmth and love. Ngozi felt at peace, knowing that the person who had caused her so much trouble, David's mother, was no longer there to interfere. For the first time in many years, she felt a sense of security and happiness. David, Ngozi and Nelu lived happily together, cherishing every moment they had shared. David's presence brought a new level of joy and comfort to their lives. He made sure that both Ngozi and Nelu felt loved and appreciated. They spent weekends exploring new places, having picnics, and enjoying each other's company. One bright and sunny day, David and Ngozi decided to take their relationship to the next level. They got married in a small intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family. It was a beautiful day, filled with love and happiness. Nelo was thrilled to see her parents so happy together, and she felt like her family was complete. After the wedding, they started processing their papers to move abroad. David wanted to give Nelo the best education and opportunities possible, and Ngozi agreed that it would be a great chance for their family to grow and thrive. One afternoon, Nelo was sitting with Ada in their favorite spot. Ada looked sad, and Nelo could tell that her best friend was struggling with the news of her departure. I'm going to miss you so much, Nelo, Ada said, her voice trembling. Nelo hugged her tightly. I will miss you too, Ada, but I promise we'll keep in touch, and you can always come and visit us whenever you want. Ada sniffled, trying to hold back her tears. It's not the same. We have always been together. Nelo smiled softly. I know, but we'll always be best friends, no matter where we are. We'll talk every day, and I will tell you all about my new school and the new friends I make. And when you visit, we'll have so much fun together. Ada nodded, wiping her tears. Okay, Nelo, I will hold you to that promise. As the days passed, Ngozi, David, and Nelo prepared for their big move. They went shopping together, buying new clothes and supplies for their new life abroad. They spent hours packing their luggage, making sure they had everything they needed. One evening, as Ngozi and Nelo were sitting on the couch, David walked in with a big smile on his face. How about we go get our hair done tomorrow? A fresh start deserves a fresh look. Nelo's eyes lit up. Yes! That sounds like fun, Papa. Ngozi laughed. Alright, let's do it. It's been a while since I have had a nice hair makeover. The next day, they all went to the salon. Ngozi chose a beautiful style that framed her face perfectly, while Nelo opted for something fun and trendy. David even got a trim, looking sharper than ever. They all felt refreshed and ready for their new adventure. The day of their departure arrived, and it was a mix of emotions for everyone. Ada and her family came to see them off. Ada couldn't stop crying, her heart heavy with the thought of her best friend leaving. I will miss you so much, Nelo, Ada sobbed, hugging her tightly. I will miss you too, Ada, Nelo whispered, tears streaming down her face. But remember, we will talk every day, and I will visit as often as I can. Ada's mother hugged Ngozi. Take care of yourself. We'll miss you. Ngozi nodded, her eyes glistening with tears. We'll miss you too. Thank you for everything. David shook hands with Ada's father. We'll keep in touch. Thank you for being such good friends to my family. Ada's father nodded. Safe travels, David. Take care of them. With heavy hearts, they bid Ada's family goodbye. As they drove to the airport, Nello felt a mixture of excitement and sadness. She was thrilled to be traveling abroad and starting a new chapter in her life. But she also felt a deep sadness at leaving her best friends behind. At the airport, they checked in their luggage and went through security. As they waited at the gate, Nello looked at her parents and felt a sense of comfort and security. They were together, and that was what mattered most. We are going to be okay, Nello, David said, squeezing her hand. This is a new beginning for all of us. Nello smiled, feeling a sense of hope and excitement. I know, Papa. I can't wait to see what's ahead. As they boarded the plane, Nello took one last look at her home, knowing that she was about to embark on a new adventure. She felt grateful for the love and support of her family and friends, and she promised herself that she would make the most of this new opportunity. Sitting in her seat between her parents, Nello felt a sense of peace. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, ready for whatever the future held. She knew that no matter where life took them, they would always be a family, and they would always have each other. As the plane took off, leaving the ground behind, Nello looked out the window and smiled. It was the beginning of a new journey, and she felt ready to face it with her family by her side. When they landed at the airport in the UK, a taxi was waiting for them. David had arranged everything in advance to make their transition as smooth as possible. The driver helped them with their luggage, and soon they were on their way to David's big house. As they drove through the bustling streets of London, Nello looked out the window in shock. Everything was so different from what she was used to in Nigeria. The tall buildings, the busy roads, and the people from all over the world fascinated her. After a while, the taxi pulled up in front of a large, beautiful house. It was even more impressive than Nello had imagined. The house was surrounded by a well-manicured garden, with flowers of every color blooming in the sunshine. Papa, is this your house? Nello asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Yes, Nello, this is our home now, David replied with a smile. Ngozi was equally stunned. David, it's so beautiful. I never imagined it would be like this. David helped them with their bags and led them inside. The interior was just as stunning as the outside. The house was spacious and elegantly decorated, with large windows that let in plenty of light. Welcome home, David said warmly. Make yourselves comfortable. This is your home now. They settled in comfortably, exploring every corner of their new home. David made sure they lacked nothing. The kitchen was stocked with all the essentials, and their bedrooms were furnished with everything they needed. A few days later, David took Nello to visit a nice school nearby. Nello was nervous, but excited about the prospect of attending school in the UK. Papa, do you think I will make friends here? Nello asked, holding his father tightly. Of course you will, Nello. You are a wonderful person, and I'm sure everyone would love you, David reassured her. When they arrived at the school, they were greeted by the principal, who showed them around. The school was big and had many facilities that Nello had never seen before. This is where you will be studying, Nello, the principal said kindly. We are very happy to have you here. Nello smiled, feeling a little more at ease. Thank you. I'm excited to start. On her first day at school, Nello met her new classmates. At first, she felt shy and out of place, but soon, the other kids started talking to her and making her feel welcome. Hi, I'm Kelly. What's your name? A girl with curly hair asked. I'm Nelo, nice to meet you. Nelo replied with a smile. Kelly and her friends showed Nelo around the school and helped her find her way. By the end of the day, Nelo had made several new friends and was looking forward to coming back the next day. Meanwhile, David also helped Ngozi find a job. With his connections and support, she was able to secure a position at a local company. Ngozi was grateful for the opportunity to work and contribute to their new life. Thank you so much, my love. I don't know what we would have done without you, Ngozi said, her eyes filled with gratitude. You don't have to thank me, my love. We are a family, and families take care of each other, David replied. Lelo kept in touch with Ada as promised. They would video call each other and talked about their lives. Ada, you have to come visit after high school. You will love it here, Nello said excitedly during one of their calls. I will, Nello. I can't wait to see you and meet your new friends, Ada replied, smiling. As time passed, Ngozi and David's love for each other grew stronger. They were so happy to be reunited and to have their family together. One day, Ngozi had some news that would change their lives even more. My love, I'm pregnant, Ngozi said, tears of joy in her eyes. David was overjoyed. That's wonderful news, Ngozi. I'm so happy. When the baby was born, they named him Davis. He was a beautiful, healthy baby boy, and the entire family was thrilled. Nello was excited to have a baby brother and promised to help take care of him. Welcome to the family, Davis, Nello whispered as she held him for the first time. I'm going to be the best big sister ever. David and Ngozi showered both Nello and Davis with love. They made sure that Nello didn't feel left out and included her in everything they did for Davis. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, David looked at his family with pride. We have come a long way, haven't we? Yes, we have, Ngozi agreed, holding Davis in her arms. I'm so grateful for everything we have. Nello, sitting beside her parents, smiled brightly. I love our family. I'm so happy. And so, their lives in the UK began to flourish. They embraced their new surroundings, made new friends, and built a life filled with love and happiness. Despite the distance from their old home, they kept the memories and the connections alive, knowing that they were truly blessed to have found each other again. Years flew by, and before they knew it, Nello was standing on the stage dressed in her graduation gown, beaming with pride. It was a momentous day, and David and Ngozi couldn't have been prouder. As Nello walked across the stage to receive her high school diploma, her family cheered loudly. Davis, now a lively young boy, waved enthusiastically from the audience. After the ceremony, the family gathered outside, where they took countless photos and celebrated Nello's achievements. The joy was palpable. Onelo couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness knowing that Ada wasn't there to share this special moment with her. A few days later, Nello received a surprise visit. As she walked into the house one afternoon, she heard a familiar voice. Nello! Turning around, Nello saw Ada standing there, grinning from ear to ear. They ran towards each other and hugged tightly, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Ada, I can't believe you are here, Nello exclaimed, her voice full of happiness. I wouldn't miss this for anything in the world. Nello, Ada replied, her eyes shining with excitement. Ngozi and David walked over, smiling warmly. Ada, it's so wonderful to see you again, Ngozi said, embracing her. We have missed you. David nodded in agreement. We are so glad you could come. We have been thinking, would love for you to stay and study abroad. There are so many opportunities here. Ada's eyes widened in surprise and delight. Really? I would love that. But I need to ask my parents first. Ada's parents were back in Nigeria, but Ada quickly pulled out her phone and called them. Mama, Papa, Nelo's parents have invited me to stay and study here in the UK. What do you think? Her mother's voice crackled over the line. That's wonderful, Ada. We have always wanted the best for you. If this is what you want, then we'll support you. Her father added, we trust Nelo's family. Take this opportunity and make the most of it. We are so proud of you. Tears of joy filled Ada's eyes. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Papa. I promise to make you both proud. With everything arranged, Ada decided to stay and pursue her studies in the UK. Nelo and Ada enrolled at the same university in London, where they planned to study together and support each other through the next phase of their lives. As the years passed, Nelo and Ada thrived at university. They worked hard, made new friends, and enjoyed their time studying in a vibrant and diverse city. They often reminisced about their childhood and how far they had come since those days in Nigeria. I'm so glad we are here together, Ada, Nelo said one evening as they studied in their dorm room. I can't imagine doing this without you. Me too, Nelo. It feels like a dream come true, Ada replied with a smile. Throughout their university years, David and Ngozi continued to support their children. They visited Nelo and Ada often, bringing home cooked meals and spending quality time together. Davis, now in school, was thriving in his studies and making his parents proud with his achievements. After years of hard work and dedication, Nelo and Ada graduated from university with flying colors. Their families were there to celebrate their success, cheering them on as they received their degrees. We did it, Ada, Nelo exclaimed, hugging her friend tightly. Yes, we did. I'm so proud of us, Ada replied, tears of joy in her eyes. David and Ngozi watched with pride as their children stepped into the next chapter of their lives. Nelo had secured a job at a prestigious tech company, and Ada was on her way to becoming a nurse. Congratulations, Nelo, David said, hugging his daughter. You have worked so hard for this. And you too, Ada. We are so proud of you, Ngozi added, embracing her warmly. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Papa. Thank you for everything, Nelo said, her heart full of gratitude. Ada's parents were equally proud. You have made us so happy, Ada, her mother said over a video call. We are so grateful to David and Ngozi for making this possible. With their careers starting, Nelo and Ada moved into their new apartment in London. They decorated it together, creating a cozy and welcoming space where they could unwind after a long day at work. This place is perfect, Ada said, looking around their new home. It really is. I'm so excited for this next chapter, Nelo replied, smiling. David and Ngozi continued to thrive as well. David's projects were successful, and Ngozi enjoyed her job, making new friends and becoming an integral part of their community. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Nelo looked around the table, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and happiness. I love our family, she said, smiling at everyone. We have come so far, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. David raised his glass to our family and to all the wonderful adventures ahead. We are so proud of all of you. Cheers! They all exclaimed, clinking their glasses together. Years went by, and the family's bond only grew stronger. Davis, inspired by his older sister Ada, worked hard in school and pursued his passions with the same determination. Nelo continued to excel at her tech company, bringing innovative ideas and making significant contributions. Ada, now a dedicated nurse, cared for her patients with compassion and skill. One day, as Nelo and Ada walked through a park, reminiscing about their journey, Nelo said, I'm so glad we kept our promise to stay close. I can't imagine my life without you, Ada. Me neither, Nelo. We have been through so much together, and I know we will always be there for each other, Ada replied. And so, they continued to live happily, their lives filled with love, laughter, and endless support from their family and friends. They knew that no matter where life took them, they would always have each other, and that was the greatest gift of all. This story teaches us that family and friends are very important. No matter where we go or what we do, having the love and support of our family and friends makes us strong and happy. It shows us that even when things are hard, we should never give up on each other. Being kind, helping each other, and staying close to those we love will always bring us joy and make our lives better. Obioma was a beautiful girl with bright eyes and a charming smile. She lived in a small village with her parents and younger siblings. Life in the village was peaceful, but Obioma had bigger dreams. She wanted to go to the city and make a lot of money. Her best friend from childhood, Martha, had already moved to Lagos after their senior high school. Obioma missed her friend and wanted to join her. One sunny afternoon, Obioma sat on the porch of her family's small house, thinking about her future. Her mother, Mama Obioma, was in the kitchen cooking yam porridge. The smell of the delicious food filled the air. Obioma, come and help me in the kitchen, her mother called out. Obioma sighed and walked into the kitchen. Mama, I have been thinking, she began. Her mother looked at her with a concerned expression. What is it, my daughter? I want to go to the city. I want to join Martha in Lagos, Obioma said firmly. Her mother stopped stirring the pot and looked at her daughter with wild eyes. Why do you want to go to the city? There are many things you can do here. You can learn a skill and then go back to school. Obioma shook her head. Mama, I don't want to stay in the village. I want to make money and live a better life. Just then, Obioma's father, Papa Obioma, walked into the kitchen. He was a tall man with a kind face. What are you two talking about? He asked. Obioma says she wants to go to the city. Mama Obioma explained. Papa Obioma frowned. Obioma, the city is not easy. There are many challenges. You should stay here and learn a skill instead. But Papa, I don't want to stay in the village forever. I want to go to Lagos and find a good job, Obioma insisted. Her father sighed. We are just worried about you. The city can be dangerous. Obioma nodded but remained determined. I'll be careful, Papa. I told Martha about it the last time she came to the village, and she said I can stay with her. Her parents exchanged worried glances. They knew how stubborn Obioma could be. We just want you to be safe, her mother said softly. I understand, Mama, but I need to do this, Obioma replied. In the days that followed, Obioma began to prepare for her journey. She packed her clothes and saved up the little money she had. She also spent time with her friends in the village, including a boy named Obina. Obina had been her boyfriend since high school, but Obioma felt it was time to move on. One evening, Obioma and Obina sat under a large mango tree, watching the sunset. The sky was painted with beautiful shades of orange and pink. Obioma, I heard you are going to the city. Obina said, breaking the silence. Yes, I am, Obioma replied. But why? Why do you want to leave the village? Obina asked, his voice filled with sadness. I want a better life, Obina. I want to go and make money and help my family, Obioma explained. Obina looked down at the ground. What about us? What about our relationship? Obioma took a deep breath. Obina, I don't think we can continue dating. I don't want to be with a village boy. I need someone who can understand my dreams and ambitions. Obina's heart sank. But I love you, Obioma. We have been together for so long. I know, and I care about you too. But this is something I have to do for myself, Obioma said gently. Obina nodded slowly. I understand. I just want you to be happy. Thank you, Obina. I hope you find happiness too, Obioma replied. The next morning, Obioma called Martha to tell her about her plans. She was excited but also nervous. Martha was thrilled to hear from her friend. Obioma, it's been so long. How have you been? Martha exclaimed over the phone. I have been fine, Martha. I miss you a lot, Obioma said. I miss you too. What's new? Martha asked. I want to move to Lagos. I want to join you in the city, Obioma announced. That's wonderful. You can stay with me. I will send you my address, Martha said excitedly. Thank you so much, Martha. I can't wait to see you, Obioma replied. In the days leading up to her departure, Obioma's parents continued to warn her about the challenges of city life. They wanted her to stay in the village and learn a skill, but Obioma's mind was made up. Obioma, remember to be careful. The city is not like the village, her father reminded her. I will be careful, Papa, don't worry, Obioma assured him. Her mother hugged her tightly. We love you, my daughter. Please stay safe. I love you too, Mama. I will call you as soon as I reach Lagos, Obioma promised. The day finally arrived for Obioma to leave for the city. She packed her bags and said goodbye to her family and friends. As she walked to the bus station, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She knew this journey would change her life forever. Goodbye, Obina. Take care of yourself, Obioma said as she hugged her former boyfriend. Goodbye, Obioma. I wish you all the best, Obina replied, trying to hide his tears. Obioma boarded the bus and took a seat by the window. She looked out at the village she had known all her life. She knew she would miss it, but she was ready for a new adventure. As the bus started moving, Obioma's heart raced with anticipation. She couldn't wait to reunite with Martha and start her new life in Lagos. She knew there would be challenges, but she was determined to face them head on. Obioma's journey to the city had just begun, and she was ready to embrace whatever came her way. Her parents' warnings echoed in her mind, but she believed in herself and her dreams. She was confident that she would make a better life for herself and her family. The road to Lagos was long and winding, but Obioma's spirit remained strong. She looked forward to the new opportunities and experiences that awaited her in the bustling city. With a hopeful heart and a determined mind, Obioma set out on her journey to the city, ready to make her dreams come true. Obioma arrived in Lagos late at night, the city lights twinkling like stars in the distance. The bus station was crowded, with people hurrying in different directions. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She took out her phone and called Martha, but the call didn't go through. She tried again and again, but Martha's number wasn't connecting. Obioma grew anxious. Why isn't Martha picking up? She muttered to herself. She looked around, hoping to spot someone who could help her. With no other choice, she decided to head to Martha's address by herself. She boarded a bus heading to Martha's area, gripping her purse tightly. The bus was half full, with tired faces staring out the windows. Obioma found a seat and settled in, hoping the journey would go smoothly. However, halfway to her destination, the bus came to an abrupt halt. Why is the bus stopping? She wondered aloud. The driver turned off the engine, and the lights inside the bus dimmed. The passengers started whispering among themselves, and Obioma's heart began to race. Suddenly, the man sitting behind her leaned forward and whispered in a menacing tone, Give me your phone and all the money you have. Obioma's eyes widened in fear. Please, sir, I need my phone, she pleaded softly, her voice trembling. The man's face twisted in anger. Na beg you dey beg. Give me your phone now. He slapped her hard, causing her to cry out in pain. Another man appeared beside her, grabbing her purse and yanking it away. Oya, give us everything you get. Obioma was in shock. She handed over her phone and the little money she had, tears streaming down her face. They took her purse, which had Martha's address in it, and pushed her out of the bus, throwing her bag after her. Help! Somebody help me! Obioma screamed, but the bus sped away, leaving her alone on the deserted road. It was 11 p.m., and the night was quiet. She looked around, shivering in the cold, unsure of what to do next. Obioma started walking down the lonely path, tears blurring her vision. She felt lost and scared. Few cars passed by, but none stopped to help her. She wrapped her arms around herself, trying to stay warm as she continued walking aimlessly. After what felt like hours, she stumbled upon a busy street. Groups of young men were hanging around, drinking and smoking. They looked rough and intimidating. Obioma tried to walk past them quietly, hoping not to attract their attention. Who goes there? One of the boys shouted, causing Obioma to freeze in her tracks. Stop right there. Obioma's heart pounded in her chest. She tried to run, but another boy blocked her path. Where you dey go? He demanded. Please, I just want to go home. Obioma begged, her voice shaking. Who you be? Wetin you dey do for our area? Another boy asked, stepped closer. Obioma was too scared to speak. Just as they were about to drag her away, a car pulled over, and a man stepped out. Good evening, boys. Na wetin dey happen here? He asked calmly. The boys turned to look at him. Nothing, oga. We just dey check who she be. The man looked at Obioma and then back at the boys. Ah, Grace. Na you be this. I don dey find you since. Come, make we go house. The leader of the boys frowned. You sabi her? Yes, na my sister wey come from village. The man lied smoothly. The boys relaxed. Sorry, boss. We no know say she be your sister. Oh. No wahala. The man said, waving them off. Make una no worry. Obioma quickly got into the car, her hands still trembling. The man, whose name was Mr. Stephen, drove away from the area and stopped at a safer spot. He turned to Obioma, his face full of concern. Are you okay? He asked gently. Obioma nodded, wiping her tears. Thank you so much. I don't know what would have happened if you didn't show up. What's your name? And what are you doing out here so late? Mr. Stephen inquired. My name is Obioma. I came to Lagos to meet my friend Martha, but I couldn't reach her. I got on a bus and then this man robbed me and threw me out, she explained, her voice breaking. Mr. Stephen sighed. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Lagos can be dangerous at night. I lost everything. My phone, my money, even the address to Martha's place. Obioma said, feeling hopeless. Don't worry. You are safe now. I will take you to a hotel for tonight. Tomorrow, we can figure out how to find your friend, Mr. Stephen assured her. Obioma nodded gratefully. Thank you, sir. You have been very kind. Mr. Stephen smiled. It's no problem. By the way, my name is Stephen, and I am a doctor. I was just coming back from work when I saw you. Obioma felt a glimmer of hope. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen. I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to repay me. Just stay safe and be careful, he replied warmly. As Mr. Stephen drove towards a nearby hotel, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and saw it was his wife, Annabel. He quickly answered the call. Hello, my love, he said warmly. Stephen, what's keeping you? It's getting late. Annabel's concerned voice came through the phone. I know, honey. I'm on my way, but I had to help someone. I'll explain everything when I get home. I promise I won't be long, he assured her. Okay, please be safe. See you soon, Annabel said before hanging up. Obioma sat in the car, still shaken by the day's events. She kept replaying the moment she was robbed and thrown out of the bus. When they reached the hotel, she hoped to find a place to rest. However, The receptionist shook his head apologetically. I'm so sorry, sir, but we are fully booked. It's Friday night and all the rooms are taken, he explained. Mr. Stevens sighed and turned to Obioma. Let's try another hotel. Don't worry, we will find something, he said encouragingly. They drove to another hotel, but it was the same story, no vacancy. The receptionist at the hotel informed them. Obioma's heart sank. They tried a third hotel, but it was also full. The night was getting darker, and Obioma was exhausted and anxious. Mr. Stephen glanced at his watch and then at Obioma. It's very late, and it seems all the hotels are booked. Would you be okay coming to my house for tonight? My wife Annabel is home, and you can continue your journey in the morning, he suggested kindly. Obioma felt a wave of relief wash over her. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen. I appreciate your kindness, she said gratefully. Mr. Stephen smiled and nodded. All right then, let's head home. They drove through the quiet streets of Lagos, and soon they arrived at a cozy house with a small garden in front. Mr. Stephen parked the car and helped Obioma with her bag. As they walked to the front door, Annabel opened it. Looking curious and slightly worried, Stephen, you are finally home. Who is this young lady? She asked, her eyes widening in surprise. Annabel, this is Obioma. She had a rough night. She came to Lagos to see her friend, but got robbed and stranded. I found her in a difficult situation and couldn't leave her alone, Stephen explained. Annabel's expression softened, and she looked at Obioma with sympathy. Oh, you poor thing, come in, she said warmly. Obioma greeted her politely. Good evening, ma. Thank you for having me. Annabel smiled and took her hand. You are welcome there. I'm Annabel. Let's get you settled in. You must be exhausted. Annabel led Obioma to a cozy room downstairs. The room was small but comfortable, with a soft bed and clean sheets. This is your room for tonight. Make yourself at home, Annabel said kindly. Thank you so much, ma. You are very kind, Obioma said, feeling a bit more at ease. Are you hungry? I can get you something to eat, Annabel offered. Obioma's stomach growled at the mention of food. Yes, please. I haven't eaten anything since, she admitted. Annabel nodded and went to the kitchen, quickly preparing a plate of rice and stew. She brought it to Obioma, who thanked her again and started eating. The food was delicious, and Obioma felt grateful for the kindness she had received. After eating, Obioma felt more relaxed. She thanked Annabel once more and decided to rest. She lay down on the bed, pulling the blanket over herself. As she closed her eyes, she whispered a prayer of thanks to God for bringing Mr. Stephen and Annabel her way. Despite the fear of uncertainty she felt, she found comfort in the kindness of strangers. Meanwhile, Stephen and Annabel were in their bedroom, talking about Obioma. I can't believe what she went through. Lagos can be harsh for newcomers, Annabel said, shaking her head. Yes, it's really unfortunate. I'm just glad I was able to help her. I can't imagine what would have happened if I hadn't been there, Stephen replied. Annabel sighed. I hope she finds her friend tomorrow. She seems like a sweet girl. She does. We'll do our best to help her in the morning, Stephen said, squeezing Annabel's hand. Back in her room, Obioma couldn't stop thinking about her family and her decision to come to Lagos. She missed her parents and wondered if they were worried about her. She thought about Martha and hoped she could find her the next day. As she drifted off to sleep, she felt a mix of emotions, fear, hope, and gratitude. The night passed peacefully, and Obioma slept soundly, despite everything she had been through. The kindness of Stephen and Annabel had given her a sense of safety and comfort. She knew that the next day would bring new challenges, but she was ready to face them with renewed strength. The next morning, Obioma woke up early. The house was quiet, and the first rays of the sun were just starting to peek through the windows. She decided to make herself useful and began cleaning the house. She swept the floors, dusted the furniture, and tidied up the living room. She wanted to show her gratitude to Mr. Stephen and Annabel for their kindness. After she finished cleaning, Obioma went back to her room and waited for Annabel and Mr. Stephen to wake up. She sat on the bed, thinking about her family and wondering how they were doing. She missed them, but knew she had to stay strong and make the best of her situation. After a little while, Annabel knocked on her door and peeked in. "Good morning, Obioma. How did you sleep?" she asked with a warm smile. "Good morning, ma. I slept very well, thank you," Obioma replied, standing up to greet her. Annabel walked into the room and looked around. "You have cleaned the house already. That's so kind of you, Obioma. Thank you." Obioma smiled shyly. "It's the least I could do to show my gratitude." Annabel nodded. "Come, let's go to the kitchen and prepare breakfast." They went to the kitchen and started preparing breakfast together. Obioma felt a sense of comfort walking alongside Annabel. They made scrambled eggs, toast, and brewed some tea. The kitchen filled with the delicious aroma of food, and soon Mr. Stephen joined them at the dining table. "Good morning, ladies," he greeted them cheerfully. "Good morning, Dr. Stephen," Obioma replied, smiling. "Morning there," Annabel said, setting the table. As they sat down to eat, Mr. Stephen turned to Obioma. "So, Obioma, what's your plan for finding Martha, your friend?" Obioma's smile faded a little. "I don't know, sir. I lost her address when I was robbed. I don't have any way to locate her except to go back to the village and ask around." Annabel looked thoughtful. "What if you stayed here with us? You could work for us, and we could help you get back on your feet." Obioma's eyes lit up with hope. "Really? I would love that. Thank you so much." Mr. Stephen nodded. "We would be happy to have you stay with us, Obioma. You have shown you are hardworking and respectful." Obioma felt a surge of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma. I promise to work hard and be a good girl." After breakfast, Annabel suggested they go to the market to buy groceries. "We need to stock up on some supplies. Would you like to come with me, Obioma?" "Yes, ma. I would love to," Obioma replied. They drove to the market, which was bustling with activity. Vendors called out to customers, selling everything from fresh vegetables to household items. Obioma and Annabel walked through the market, picking out groceries and chatting. "How was life back in the village?" Annabel asked as they shopped. "It was simple but good. My parents are farmers, and I have two younger siblings," Obioma said, smiling at the memory. "And what about a boyfriend? Do you have one?" Annabel inquired, smiling. "Yes, Obina was my boyfriend, but I broke up with him because I wanted to come to Lagos and make a better life for myself," Obioma explained. Annabel nodded. "I understand. Sometimes we have to make difficult decisions for our future." Obioma nodded. "Yes, ma. I just hope I made the right choice." Annabel patted her shoulder. "You are doing fine, Obioma. You are a strong young lady." They finished their shopping and returned home with bags full of groceries. Back at the house, they began preparing meals together. Annabel showed Obioma how to cook different dishes and store them in the freezer. They laughed and chatted as they walked, and Obioma felt more at ease. "You know, Obioma, I run a tech company. I usually work from home," Annabel said, stirring a pot of stew. "Wow, that's amazing, ma," Obioma replied, impressed. "It keeps me busy, but I enjoy it. And having you around will be a big help," Annabel said with a smile. "I'll do my best to help, ma," Obioma promised. As they continued cooking, Annabel shared more about her life and work. Obioma listened eagerly, fascinated by the new world she was now a part of. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the kindness and support of Annabel and Mr. Stephen were showing her. In the evening, they all sat down for dinner. The table was filled with delicious food they had prepared together. Obioma felt a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in a long time. "Thank you for everything, ma, sir," Obioma said, looking at Annabel and Mr. Stephen. "I don't know what I would have done without your help." "We are happy to have you here, Obioma. You are part of our family now," Annabel replied warmly. Mr. Stephen nodded. "That's right. We are glad you are here with us." After dinner, they cleaned up and talked a bit more before heading to bed. Obioma felt a sense of peace and hope as she lay down. She knew she had found a safe place and good people who cared about her. As she drifted off to sleep, Obioma thought about her family and hoped they were well. She also thought about Martha and hoped she would be able to find her friend someday. For now, she was grateful for the new beginning and the kindness she had received. On Monday morning, Obioma woke up early as usual. She had been living with Mr. Stephen and Annabel for a few days now, and she felt more at home with each passing day. She tidied up her room and then moved to the living room to clean. As she dusted the shelves, she thought about how kind Annabel and Mr. Stephen had been to her. After breakfast, Mr. Stephen left for work. He was always cheerful and kind, making sure to ask Obioma how she was doing every morning before he left. "Have a great day, Obioma," he said with a smile as he grabbed his briefcase. "Thank you, sir. You too," Obioma replied, waving as he walked out of the door. Annabel turned to Obioma after Mr. Stephen had left. "Obioma, I have a surprise for you today. We are going shopping for some new clothes and other things you might need." Obioma's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? Ma, thank you so much," she exclaimed, unable to hide her excitement. "Of course, you deserve it. Let's get ready to go," Annabel said with a warm smile. They headed to a nearby dress store. Obioma felt like a princess as she tried on different dresses. Annabel helped her pick out several outfits, making sure she had everything she needed. They chose beautiful dresses, comfortable shoes, and other important items. "How do you like this dress, Obioma?" Annabel asked, holding up a bright blue dress. "It's beautiful, ma. Thank you," Obioma replied, beaming. Annabel smiled. "I'm glad you like it. Let's get a few more things and then we'll go to the salon." After they finished shopping for clothes, Annabel took Obioma to a salon. The stylists there were friendly and welcoming. They washed and styled Obioma's hair, giving her a fresh new look. "Wow, you look amazing," Annabel said as Obioma admired her new hairstyle in the mirror. "Thank you, ma. I feel so happy," Obioma said, tears of joy welling up in her eyes. Annabel hugged her gently. "You deserve it, Obioma. Let's get you a small phone and a SIM card so you can stay in touch with us and your family." They stopped by a phone store and bought a simple phone and a SIM card for Obioma. She was thrilled to have a way to contact her family and friends again. She couldn't stop thanking Annabel for all her kindness. When they got home, Obioma sat on her bed, surrounded by her new clothes and shoes. She smiled as she looked at all the beautiful things Annabel had bought for her. "Thank you, God, for bringing me here," she whispered, feeling truly blessed. From that day on, Obioma made a promise to herself. She would do her best to make sure she never disappointed Annabel or Mr. Stephen. She took her responsibility serious and made sure the house was always clean and tidy. She cooked meals, did the laundry, and took care of everything in the house with a joyful heart. Annabel noticed Obioma's dedication and appreciated her hard work. "You are doing a wonderful job, Obioma. Thank you for everything you do," Annabel said one evening as they were having dinner. "Thank you, ma. I am happy to help," Obioma replied, smiling. Months passed, and Obioma settled into her new life. She didn't think about matter as much anymore because she felt safe and cared for in her new home. She was always cheerful and made sure to do her best in all her tasks. One day, Annabel sat down with Obioma after lunch. Obioma, Stephen and I want you to know how much we appreciate your hard work. You have become a part of our family. Obioma felt a warm glow in her heart. Thank you, Ma. You and Dr. Stephen have been so kind to me. I'm grateful for everything. We are happy to have you with us, and we want to make sure you are taken care of. So we'll continue paying you at the end of every month. Annabel said, Thank you so much, Ma. I promise to always do my best. Obioma replied, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. Annabel smiled. I know you will. Now let's finish cleaning up and then we can relax a bit. Obioma nodded and went back to her chores, feeling a deep sense of contentment. She knew she was in good hands and that she had a bright future ahead. Each day, she worked with a happy heart, knowing that she was valued and appreciated. As the weeks turned into months, Obioma continued to excel in her duties. She learned new skills from Annabel and even started helping with small tasks related to Annabel's tech company. Annabel often worked from home, and Obioma was always eager to assist in any way she could. Obioma, can you help me organize these files? Annabel asked one afternoon. Of course, Ma. Obioma replied, quickly getting to work. You are very efficient. I'm glad to have you around, Annabel said, smiling as she watched Obioma work. Thank you, Ma. I'm happy to help, Obioma said, feeling proud of her work. Life in Lagos continued smoothly for Obioma. She had settled into a routine, and the days passed by peacefully. One sunny afternoon, as Obioma was dusting the living room, she heard a knock at the door. Annabel was in her study, working on some documents. Obioma quickly wiped her hands on her apron and went to open the door. Standing there was a man with a tired, grumpy look on his face. He had a bag slung over his shoulder and looked like he had just arrived from a long journey. Hello, can I help you? Obioma asked politely. Is this Stephen's house? The man asked, peering past her into the house. Yes, it is, and you are? Obioma replied. I'm Kelvin, Stephen's big brother. Is he home? The man said, pushing past Obioma and entering the house without waiting for an invitation. Obioma was taken aback by his rudeness, but managed to say, No, sir, he's at work. Please, come in and make yourself comfortable. Calvin dropped his bag in the hallway and walked into the living room, looking around with a critical eye. Annabel heard the commotion and came out to see what was happening. She was surprised to see Kelvin. Kelvin, what are you doing here? Annabel asked, her voice filled with surprise. Ah, Annabel, I thought I would pay my little brother a visit. Don't I have right to come here? Kelvin replied, sitting down heavily on the couch. Of course you do. It's just that we weren't expecting you, Annabel said, trying to hide her annoyance. Kelvin shrugged. Surprises are good sometimes. Where is Stephen? He'll be back in the evening. Let me get you something to eat, Annabel said, motioning for Obioma to follow her into the kitchen. As they prepared a meal for Kelvin, Annabel whispered to Obioma, He can be difficult, but just be patient, okay? Yes, ma, Obioma replied, trying to hide her worry. That evening, Mr. Stephen returned home and was surprised to see his brother. Kelvin, why didn't you tell us you were coming? He asked. Kelvin leaned back on the couch and spread his arms. Do I need to announce my visit? This is my brother's house, isn't it? Stephen sighed but didn't argue. All right, let's get you settled in. You can stay in the second guest room downstairs. From that day on, Kelvin's presence began to change the atmosphere in the house. Obioma was the first to feel the impact. Kelvin started making her life a living hell. Each meal she served him was met with complaints. "This soup is too salty," he would shout. "The spices are all wrong." Obioma would have to cook and recook meals, trying her best to meet his impossible standards. Sometimes, after she served him, Calvin would deliberately spill water on the floor and call her to clean it up. "Hurry up, you village girl. Can't you do anything right?" he would sneer. One day, as Obioma was cleaning the living room, Calvin walked in and began scattering things around. He knocked over a vase and then yelled, "Look at the mess you have made. Clean this up immediately." Obioma bent down to pick up the pieces, her hands trembling with frustration. "Yes, sir," she replied quietly, holding back tears. Calvin's treatment didn't stop there. He would insult her, calling her a charity case and a village girl. Obioma kept all the torture to herself because she didn't want to cause troubles between Mr. Stephen and his brother. She hoped Calvin would get tired of tormenting her and leave soon. One evening, after Obioma had cooked a pot of soup, Calvin sneaked into the kitchen and poured a large amount of salt into it. When Mr. Stephen tasted the soup at dinner, he frowned. "Obioma, what's going on? This soup is too salty. You are becoming careless." Obioma's heart sank. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't know how that happened," she said, feeling helpless. Annabel noticed the changes too. The house was becoming dirtier, and food was going bad more often. One day, she pulled Obioma aside and asked, "Obioma, what's happening? The house isn't as clean as it used to be, and the food isn't as good. Is something wrong?" Obioma shook her head quietly. "No, ma, everything is fine. I promise I will do better," she said, forcing a smile. But inside, Obioma was deeply troubled. She couldn't understand why Kelvin was treating her so badly. She had tried her best to be respectful and hardworking, but nothing seemed to please him. She lay awake at night, thinking about his cruelty and wondering what she could do to make things better. Despite the ongoing torment, Obioma continued to work diligently. She didn't want to let Annabel and Mr. Stephen down. She woke up early each morning, cleaned the house, and prepared meals, all while enduring Kelvin's harsh treatment. One day, while cleaning Kelvin's room, Obioma found herself crying quietly. She quickly wiped her tears when she heard footsteps approaching. Kelvin entered the room and sneered at her. "Crying? Are we? That won't get you anywhere, village girl." Obioma didn't respond. She kept her head down and continued her work, determined not to let him see how much his words hurt her. Days turned into weeks, and Kelvin's mistreatment of Obioma continued unabated. He made her life a living nightmare with his constant demands and harsh words. Obioma did her best to bear it silently, hoping that he would get tired, but it only seemed to get worse. One day, when Annabel and Mr. Stephen were out of the house, Obioma reached her breaking point. She decided to confront Kelvin. She found him lounging in the living room, sipping a drink and watching TV. "Mr. Kelvin, may I speak with you?" Obioma asked, her voice trembling but determined. Mr. Kelvin looked at her with a smile. "Ah, finally! The village girl finds her voice. What do you want?" Obioma took a deep breath. "What have I done to you? Why do you treat me like this?" Kelvin laughed, a cruel sound that sent shivers down her spine. "I have been waiting for this opportunity. You see, I have a mission for you. If you want peace in this house, you will have to obey my commands." Obioma's heart raced. "What do you want from me?" Kelvin leaned forward, his eyes glinting with malice. "I have something I need you to put in Annabel's and Stephen's food." Obioma's eyes widened in shock. "You want me to poison them? My madam and my oga?" "Keep your voice down," Kelvin hissed, glancing around to ensure no one was listening. It's not poison. It won't hurt them. Just do as I say, and I will pay you 5 million naira after the job. Obioma looked at him with a mix of fear and disbelief. I'm sorry, but I can't do such a thing. They picked me up from the street and gave me a better life. You want me to betray them? I can't. I'm sorry, Mr. Kelvin. Kelvin moved closer, his face inches from hers. Then watch and see how you will be thrown out of this house. I will personally destroy you, trust me. He pushed her roughly before storming out of the room. Obioma's body shook with fear. She couldn't understand why Kelvin wanted to harm his brother and Annabel. She was so scared. As she went back to the kitchen, her mind racing, a little while later, Kelvin returned to the kitchen. If anyone hears about our conversation, I will personally kill you. He threatened, his eyes cold and menacing. Obioma nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. She decided to keep quiet but couldn't stop thinking about what Kelvin had asked her to do. His words echoed in her mind, filling her with dread. Over the following days, Kelvin continued to torment Obioma, reminding her of his plan and pressuring her to comply. Obioma steadfastly refused, but the stress of the situation weighed heavily on her. One day, Kelvin cornered her at the back of the house. He grabbed her arm roughly, dragging her to a secluded spot. You need to do the job, or I will make you my scapegoat. Obioma looked at him with pleading eyes. Why are you doing this? Why do you hate Mr. Stephen so much? Kelvin's eyes twisted with anger. I hate that boy, Stephen. Just because he went to school and got a better job. He thinks he's better than me. I want this house, their cars, and everything to myself. I want to take care of my own family. But Mr. Stephen has been helping you. Obioma protested, trying to make sense of Kelvin's hatred. That small 100,000, 200,000. Is that one money? I have 6 children and he's giving me chicken change. Kelvin sneered. I want everything for myself. Obioma sighed, feeling a deep sense of despair. I can't help you, Mr. Kelvin. I can't betray the people who have been so kind to me. Kelvin's expression darkened. Then, I will find a way to do it myself and frame you for it. You will rot in jail. Obioma pulled away from him and ran to her room, locking the door behind her. She sank to the floor, her body wrecked with sobs. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't hurt Annabel and Mr. Stephen, but she was terrified of what Kelvin might do. Obioma decided she needed to tell Mr. Stephen and Annabel about Kelvin's plan before it was too late. But fear held her back. What if Kelvin made good on his threat? What if they didn't believe her? That night, as she lay in bed, Obioma prayed for strength and guidance. She knew she couldn't keep silent any longer. She had to protect the people who had given her a second chance at life. With a heavy heart, she resolved to find a way to warn Mr. Stephen and Annabel no matter the cost. The next day, Obioma woke up with a heavy heart. She knew she had to tell Mr. Stephen and Annabel about Kelvin's sinister plans. As she went about her morning chores, she devised a plan to reveal Kelvin's true nature. She decided to use some sleeping pills to put him to sleep, giving her the perfect opportunity to speak with her employers. That evening, she prepared dinner as usual, but added a few crushed sleeping pills to Mr. Kelvin's food. As they all sat down to eat, Obioma felt her heart pounding in her chest. She watched Kelvin closely, waiting for the pills to take effect. After dinner, Kelvin began to feel drowsy. I'm going to bed early tonight, he announced, his voice slurred. Good night, Mr. Kelvin, Obioma said, hiding her relief. Once Kelvin was fast asleep, Obioma knocked on Annabel and Stephen's door. "Ma, sir, I need to speak with you. It's very important," she said urgently. Annabel and Stephen exchanged worried glances before inviting her in. "What is it, Obioma?" Stephen asked. Obioma took a deep breath and told them everything. She explained how Kelvin had been mistreating her and how he had asked her to poison them. At first, they looked at her in disbelief. "Obioma, we know Kelvin can be difficult, but this is hard to believe," Stephen said, shaking his head. "I swear, sir, it's the truth. He gave me a substance to put in your food. I couldn't do it. Please, try to believe me," Obioma pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Annabel put a comforting hand on Obioma's shoulder. "If what you are saying is true, we need proof. Let's play along. I will pretend to poison your food, and you can act like it's working. We'll see how Kelvin reacts," Obioma suggested. Stephen hesitated but eventually nodded. "All right, we'll do it. Let's see what happens." The next morning, Obioma approached Kelvin, who was still groggy from the sleeping pills. "Mr. Kelvin, I have thought about what you said and I will do it. But you have to promise me the 5 million naira," she said. Kelvin's face lit up with a sinister grin. "Of course, you will get your money. Here is the substance. Make sure you put it in their food exactly as I told you." Obioma took the packet from him, her hands shaking. She went to her room and switched the substance with a harmless powder. When she returned to the kitchen, Kelvin watched as she added the powder to the food. "Good job, Obioma. Oya, serve them the food. I will be rid of them soon enough," Kelvin said, his eyes gleaming with malice. Obioma served the food to Annabel and Stephen, who ate it with smiles on their faces. An hour later, they started screaming, clutching their stomachs. "My tummy! My tummy!" they cried, collapsing onto the floor. Kelvin and Obioma emerged from the kitchen, and Kelvin couldn't hide his delight. "Finally, that boy and his wife are gone. Now I can have everything to myself." Obioma asked him about the money he promised, but Mr. Kelvin shut her up, saying she wouldn't be getting a dime from him after killing his brother and his wife. Obioma watched in horror as Kelvin revealed his true feelings. "You are a wicked man, Mr. Kelvin," she said quietly. "Shut up. I'm going to call the police and report you for murder. You will rot in jail, Obioma," Kelvin sneered, pulling out his phone. Just then, Annabel and Stephen stood up. "There is no need for that, Kelvin. We had everything," Stephen said, holding up a recorder. "Obioma told us about your plan, and we didn't believe her at first. Now, we have all the proof we need." Kelvin's eyes turned pale. "What? No, this can't be happening. Why are you so wicked, Kelvin? After everything I have done for you, why?" Stephen asked, his voice filled with hurt. "You think you are better than me because you went to school and got a good job. I hate you for it. I wanted everything you have." Kelvin spat, his eyes wild with rage. Stephen shook his head in disbelief. "I have always tried to help you, Kelvin. I never thought you could stoop this low." Annabel quickly called the police, who arrived shortly and took Kelvin away in handcuffs. "Thank you, Obioma, for saving us. We are grateful for your bravery," Annabel said, hugging her. Obioma's eyes filled with tears. "I couldn't let anything happen to you. You have been so kind to me." Life gradually returned to normal after Kelvin's arrest. Obioma continued her work diligently, making sure to keep the house spotless and preparing delicious meals. Annabel and Stephen appreciated her more than ever, and they decided it was time for Obioma to focus on her education. "Obioma, we want you to go back to school. You have a bright future ahead of you, Stephen said one evening. Obioma's eyes lit up. Thank you so much, sir. I will do my best to make you proud. While attending school, Obioma also helped Annabel with her tech company work from home. She learned new skills and gained confidence in her abilities. One day, after several years of hard work and dedication, Obioma ran into Martha on the street. Martha, is that you? Obioma called out, surprised to see her old friend. Obioma, oh my God, it's been so long, Martha exclaimed, hugging her tightly. They chat for a while, catching up on old times. Martha revealed that she had been involved in the hookup business, which shocked Obioma. I waited for you that day, but you never showed up, Martha said, shaking her head. I'm sorry, Martha. So much happened, but I'm surprised to see the kind of work you are doing now. You should stop, Obioma urged. Martha shook her head sadly. It's not that easy, Obioma. This is the life I have now. Obioma returned home and told Annabel about her encounter with Martha. I thank God that I didn't go to her that day I arrived in Lagos. If I had, I might have ended up in her situation. Annabel nodded. You have come a long way, Obioma. We are so proud of you. Years passed, and Obioma graduated from school, joining Annabel in her tech business. Annabel soon became pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Obioma too traveled back to her village to visit her family, who were overjoyed to see how successful she had become. During one of her visits to the village, Obioma bumped into Obinna, who had just finished school and got a job at a big company in Abuja. They were both happy to see each other and decided to remain friends. Obioma, you have done so well for yourself. I am really proud of you, Obinna said, smiling warmly. Thank you, Obinna. I'm glad to see you are doing well too, Obioma replied. As they parted ways, Obioma felt a deep sense of contentment. She had faced many challenges, but had come out stronger. With the support of Annabel and Stephen, and her own determination, she had built a bright future for herself. And so, Obioma's journey came to a happy and fulfilling end, surrounded by the love and support of those who believed in her. Obioma's story teaches us some important lessons. First, it shows the power of kindness. When Obioma was in trouble, Mr. Stephen and Annabel helped her and treated her like family. This kindness gave Obioma a chance to have a better life. Secondly, it teaches us to be brave and honest. When Obioma found out about Kelvin's bad plans, she was very scared, but she decided to tell the truth to protect Mr. Stephen and his wife, even though it was dangerous for her. Thirdly, the story shows that hard work and determination can change our lives. Obioma worked very hard and learned new things. Because of her hard work, she was able to go to school and help Annabel with her business. Finally, it reminds us that bad actions have consequences. Calvin tried to harm his brother and Annabel because of his jealousy. In the end, he was caught and punished for his actions. We should always be kind, brave, hardworking, and honest. These qualities help us live a good and happy life. Thank you for watching this amazing story about Obioma and her journey on African Stories. If you liked it and felt inspired, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.